Following the second buffalo attack of the year across the country, we'll let you know how you can stay safe during your next visit to Custer State Park. Retail thefts have increased by a staggering amount since 2019 and show no signs of slowing. We'll have the latest numbers, and police investigate yet another shooting in the Star Village community. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. There's gunfire in Star Village last night. There have been 44 total violent crimes in that community so far in 2025, according to the Rapid City Police Department. Brian Savage spoke to several residents and RCPD's Crime Reduction Program manager to see what efforts are being made to curb crime in Star Village.
At approximately 10:05 p.m. Sunday, bullets pierced the evening air in the Star Village community when they struck the side door of a home.
About 4 or 5 gunshots, really loud. And so my granddaughter was with me, so I picked her up and we went and down the hall, and the rest of my family came out and we all kind of hunkered down in the hallway.
The gunshots would hit Eagle's neighbor's home, with the bullets going through his side door and hitting the refrigerator.
Our neighbor has a little kid that loves to hang out by the door when the outside door is open. He just loves to poke his head out, and we looked at the bullets, and those are right there where that kid normally sits.
When Rapid City Police arrived at the house, they discovered several shell casings in the driveway of the home. They then went inside and determined no one was injured from the shooting.
Eagle says the Star Village community is riddled with crime on a daily basis and says a neighborhood watch is greatly needed.
Let these people, these bad actors, know that what they're planning to do is going to be witnessed. They're going to be seen, and I don't know if that will deter them, but at least then there will be witnesses.
RCPD's Crime Reduction Program manager says there have already been 44 violent crimes in Star Village in 2025 thus far.
Last year, the entire year had approximately 66. So we're unfortunately ahead of schedule right now, and we need to work on that to make the rest of the year a safer place.
Eisenbraun says the RCPD has taken proactive measures to help make Star Village a safer place by creating a community engagement team of both civilians and police officers that conduct outreach in the area. The team is still working to address long-term solutions to the occurrence of crimes in the area. The investigation into Sunday night's shooting remains ongoing. In Rapid City, Brian Savage, KOTA Territory News.
Well, we're tracking some severe thunderstorms for KOTA Territory. First Alert meteorologist Ryan Hill is with us tracking the latest. Tell you what, there's been no shortage of these storms around here lately.
Why, yes, indeed. We had some pretty nasty ones throughout KOTA Territory, some of which produced 80-mile-per-hour gusts in our region, but that's going to be lesser of a threat. Still there, but we still have some pretty decent hail, some of these storms could have some intense hail up to lime size. We're watching 2 complexes, one feisty one near Lodge Grass in Montana. Settling south toward the Sheridan area, it has ping pong ball size hail. So it's already doing what we thought it would do. And this complex as well near Douglas, we're watching that for Newcastle and Hot Springs. It's got ping pong ball size hail in an area where we were thinking we could get lime size hail. That complex rolling through our area around 6 to 10 p.m. But we've got more tomorrow as some isolated severe storms in a muggy air mass. Still muggy tonight and warm, but tonight we're detailing more of that severe weather and perhaps some decent rain in my full forecast later on.
Thank you, Ryan. The man previously sentenced to 24 years in prison earlier this year for creating a sex trafficking operation in Rapid City made his initial appearance in federal court today on a separate charge. 41-year-old Daniel Kubika is charged with transporting an individual from South Dakota to Wyoming with the intent of prostitution. In court today, Kubika said he initially wished to plead guilty to the charge in order to speed up the process of his sentencing, but ultimately chose not to due to a special provision which would have had the case sent to a court in Wyoming if he chose to do so. If convicted, Kubika could be sentenced to a maximum of 10 years on top of the 24 he was already sentenced to. A man accused of raping a woman while holding her and her daughter captive in Box Elder in January of 2023 was convicted on Friday. 33-year-old David Poorbear was convicted by a Pennington County jury on 8 charges, including 2 counts of second-degree rape, child abuse, and kidnapping. The Pennington County State's Attorney's Office says Poorbear held a woman and her child captive for more than a day and a half. The woman testified that she was zip-tied, beaten with a sock full of nails and a chain, and had her life threatened repeatedly. The child, who was also threatened and witnessed the assaults, testified as well. The woman also testified she was trying to call for help, but Poorbear broke her phone. She would then get help after Poorbear left for work. When she got in touch with a friend who notified law enforcement, his sentencing date has not been set. According to a study done by the Council of Criminal Justice, shoplifting increased 93% from 2019 to 2023, with retailers also reporting a 90% increase in dollar losses due to shoplifting during that same time period. It has no signs of slowing down. Our Adrian Carbajal spoke with RCPD's property crime supervisor to see whether the same trend can be seen here in Rapid City, and has the story.
Rapid City, like much of the nation, has felt the impact of shoplifting, and over the past couple of years, police have focused their efforts on retail and property crime to combat this trend. According to RCPD property crime supervisor Philip Cook, reversing those numbers is a joint effort.
Theft overall is up. That's due to a couple different reasons. One is I'm sure thefts are rising, but we also have increased number of thefts being reported. We have a pretty good partnership with our local retailers in loss prevention, so that we've encouraged them to make sure and report every theft they observe, and that's part of the reason why we've seen an increase as well.
The most common items stolen are alcohol, clothing, tools, and electronics. Cook says in the past year, 3 out of 4 thefts have been solved by either in-person or warrant arrests, but noted the department still hasn't seen a pattern in terms of when retail theft occurs the most.
It kind of varies on the month. It's hard to put a number on it. It goes up and down. It's hard to say, but yeah, typically over summer we are pretty busy. I mean, we're seeing a lot more repeat offenders. We work with the state's attorney's office to identify and prosecute those individuals accordingly who are repeat.
Cook urges business owners and anyone in the community who sees or experiences thefts to report them as soon as they happen by calling 911 or by using the online reporting tool. Visit our website, KOTATV.com, for a link. Reporting for KOTA Territory News, I'm Adrian Carbajal.
Last week, a New Jersey man was gored by a bison in Yellowstone National Park, making him the 2nd visitor of the year to be charged by bison. Custer State Park has tips to stay safe while you're admiring their wildlife. First things first, make sure to stop at the entrance booth to get your entrance license and pick up Custer State Park's guide, the Tatanka. Custer State Park's Visitor Services Supervisor says many people visiting the park see the animals while they're eating and moving at a slower pace and want to move closer, but wild animals' behavior can change at any moment. She emphasized the importance of not approaching the animal for both their safety and yours.
We always say you want to be about 100 yards or more away from the animal. And one thing we always kind of learn about in the field is a lot of people don't come with their tape measure to measure that. And so a great one we learned in the last couple of years is the rule of thumb. You just take your thumb, you stick it out. If your thumb can cover the animal, you're probably a safe distance away. If you can't, back up.
Also added, the rule of thumb applies to all animals wandering about in Custer State Park, from the buffalo to elk and deer. Coming up later, just how long is this intense summer heat going to last? We'll have your weekly forecast on KOTA Territory News at 5:30. But first, how can you know which country your beef products come from? We'll have a look at the latest on rules and regulations. Stay with us. Senator Mike Rounds is asking the head of the USDA to develop framework for requiring beef products to have their country of origin listed. KOTA Territory's Blake Trolley has the story.
The senator sent a letter to USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins asking her to work with trade officials to create the framework to reinstate mandatory country of origin labeling requirements. The letter states that while Congress is prepared to address the issue as part of the upcoming Farm Bill, federal agencies must also play a leadership role. The South Dakota Stock Growers Association says it's been pushing for the requirements for years.
Everything with country of origin labeling is necessary. We have meat coming in from every country, and once it gets here and processed, they slap a USDA label on it. Well, no, tell me where it came from. Where was it born? Where was it raised?
Lowing says she hopes consumers are questioning where their beef comes from.
If you're, feeding your families with this, don't you want to know what you're feeding your families? I mean, we've taken away the red food dyes. There's a healthier America, and if you're trying to do more holistic, and this is necessary, absolutely necessary.
The letter also calls for officials to look into what Rounds says are deceptive practices distorting beef markets. Rounds stated that since the repeal of mandatory country of origin labeling in 2015, Americans have consumed increasing amounts of foreign beef. The letter says many Americans are unknowingly buying beef without transparent or reliable country of origin labeling. In Rapid City, Blake Trolley, KOTA Territory News.
Meteorologist Ryan Hill is tracking more severe storms and beneficial rain before a huge warm-up. The details are next in your accurate First Alert forecast.
Now, the First Alert forecast with meteorologist Ryan Hill.
We're monitoring 2 areas of severe weather, potentially significant severe weather. I just took a look at Casper. There was a report of 2-inch diameter or lime-size hail. That is the criteria for significant hail, and that's out of this southern complex. We're first talking about how unstable it is right now in our area. That is supposed to be eaten up by that storm complex as it moves through our area. Let me go. I got something going on with my graphics. Let me go ahead and fix that. But I am noting there are 2 complexes of severe thunderstorms in our area that or close to our area we're watching for right now. That's up by Billings. That could settle down into the Sheridan area or points north of that. We also have another complex, like I mentioned, near Casper. Let's zoom in on this first one here, north of Sheridan, settling south. Plenty of lightning. Hail to ping pong ball size. That's just a few rungs below 2 inches. So we're definitely getting larger with that hail size. Other than that, here's that other complex we're talking about. Another area of hail at least to 1.5 inches. That could be a concern for the Hot Springs area. Along this area in the center of our slight risk from Sheridan to Rapid City, we have the possibility of significant hail, maybe more so towards the southwest of town, but we're monitoring data that could suggest that that complex of storms could eventually, the more significant storms, might see if we can try and get that into our area. Other than that, really bumping down the risk of severe weather tomorrow, a marginal risk, only isolated severe storms tomorrow. Here's that complex I'm talking about, looking like it's heading right along I-90, right into the heart of KOTA territory by 9-10 o'clock. Look at that. Plenty of heavy rain as well as large hail and damaging wind. We're bumping down the threat of damaging wind versus yesterday where we had 80-mile-per-hour winds east of Wall, just like I mentioned with Jack earlier. Meanwhile, showers and storms again repopulating the map, this time more numerous, more of us in KOTA territory getting in on that. And folks, we've got some pretty decent rain. We're talking about 1 inch or more in that blue area from around Sheridan to Rapid City by the end of tomorrow. Other than that, we're talking about a muggy night with temperatures around 60 here in Rapid City, but a bit cooler in the higher elevations of the hills and in northeast Wyoming. Again, severe weather possible through at least 10 p.m. in Rapid City, 1 a.m. getting that out of the area completely. Much cooler tomorrow with 60s, upper 60s to talk about. May get some 70s in the lowlands, but take a look at this. Ridge of high pressure with some warm air. Definitely going to heat things up for this weekend, but a battleground of air masses and moisture heading through our area. So we could do it again with storms by the end of next weekend. But look at those temperatures, 88 and 91 Sheridan and Gillette, 86, 83 Deadwood by the time we get into Thursday. But take a look at these highs, flirting with 90 in Sheridan and Rapid City. Wow, 98 degrees. Tying a record on Saturday.
All right, good deal. Thank you very much, Ryan. Well, coming up, a high school basketball standout announces where he will play his college ball. Plus, we check in with the post-22 baseball team as the Hard Hats gear up for another big tournament this week. Vic Quick has all the details next in KOTA Sports.
Good evening, everybody. The local Legion baseball schedule rolls on this evening as Sturgis hosts Belle-Fourche. The two teams met up yesterday with the Titans winning 12-2. Sturgis has now won 2 in a row and 3 of its last 4. Yesterday's loss Stat posts 32's 5-game winning streak. First pitch is in just a few minutes at 6 o'clock out at Strong Field. The Post 22 baseball team has turned in a great first half of the season. The Hard Hats went 5-2 at the Pueblo tournament last week and currently check in with a 30-4 record. Post 22 should see some pretty good competition this week as it heads east for the Omaha Creighton Prep tournament. The Hard Hats start things out by taking on the host team, Creighton Prep, Wednesday morning. Now, Post 22 has gotten some great pitching performances this season, along with some timely hitting, and head coach Kelvin Torvey also likes the way this year's team works together.
But it's the intangibles that make a good, average team good or a good team great. And, I wouldn't go to quite so far as to say a good team great yet because we have a lot of season left. But it's the intangibles that we've done well, is just liking each other, having each other's backs, competing, refusing to lose during an at-bat or when you're on the mound. Hitting is the one thing that's probably the most capricious. And so we do spend a lot of time on that. We haven't really played small ball. We've done fairly well, but we could get better at that. So, but just sustaining the level of competitive spirit we have, sustaining the camaraderie that we have, that's going to be a work in progress throughout the rest of the year.
Now, it's a big week in the world of high school rodeo as a state competition is being held in Fort Pierre. The festivities begin with girls and boys cutting tomorrow and Wednesday. The first full performance comes your way on Thursday. The rodeo action then rolls on with the final performance coming up on Saturday. The College National Finals Rodeo is also off and running in Casper. Black Hills State Sierra Steele is currently 10th in barrel racing with a time of 14.57 seconds. The Yellow Jackets' Cache McGee is 10th in barrel racing. The Black Hills State's Emma Ohm did not record a time in breakaway roping this morning. The College National Finals Rodeo rolls on through Saturday in Casper. Pine Ridge basketball standout Marvin Richland III is ready to take his game to the Division I level. Marvin has announced on social media that he will play at the University of South Dakota. As a junior this past season, Richard III averaged 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, and went out to earning all-state honors. As a sophomore, Marvin helped the Thorpes reach the state tournament. Now he still has 1 season left in high school to build on those stats and help Pine Ridge make another trip to state. Certainly some exciting stuff there. Marvin Richland III, always fun to watch, and should be fun tonight. NBA Finals Game 5 between the Thunder and Pacers coming up right here on KOTA territory once we're done with the news. That's a look at sports.
Be sure to tune in to KOTA Territory News at 6 on Fox. The South Dakota Attorney General is investigating a string of inmate deaths.
We are treating them as a suspect.
Plus, a new medical marijuana processing facility is coming to the Mount Rushmore State. Those stories and more are at 6 on Fox.
The Monument is hosting the 55th United States Trampoline and Tumbling National Competition this week. The competition is going on all week and will have over 100 teams from all over the country with 1,600 athletes competing in over 3,500 events, turning a competition into a vacation. Many families are visiting Rapid City for their first time, and Carly Beadle said there's tons to do in Rapid City. For the competitors, they just want to compete and have fun.
I love the way I feel. I'm very competitive, so I love to win and just try my best. And I love the friends I make throughout it too. For tumbling, I like it. Just it gets you out of your head, and it's just something so different that you don't always experience, that not everyone else experiences, and just the feeling that you have when doing it.
And the National Tumbling Competition is going on all week at the Monument. Tickets are available for purchase online at the Monument's website. So tumbling during the day, storms at night around here.
Yes, tumbling then thundering as we make our way really within that 6 to 10 time frame. Taking a look at our radar, we definitely have some pretty nasty storms south of Billings that could settle into the Sheridan area. But eventually this complex and the one to the south carrying ping pong ball size hail will move through our area. Then we're talking about an isolated risk, and then some good rain out of both these complexes, about an inch before we say hello to some pool weather in both Sheridan and Rapid City by the time we get to this end of this week. Take a look at that 98. Could be going for a record potentially on Saturday.
All right. Kind of hoping you were going to do a backflip for us there, but
I mean, I got to tell you, cool weather makes me do that. I was born in the summer.
Maybe on the Late Show. See you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.